Good morning, this is BFM's Morning Headlines. I'm Lynn. It's Tuesday, 20th May 2014, and I am back. Wait, what? And the headlines today are very Teluk Intan heavy, although there's a dash of Panda in there, some scams, some MAS. So really busy day, let's get to it. We start things off with The Sun, one of many papers today to feature the two candidates from Teluk Intan on its cover. DAP's Dyana Sophia Muhammad Daud, as well as Gerakan President Datuk Ma Siu Kiong. And here they are, shaking hands. This is a photo that's going to repeat a lot. I'm only going to bring it up once because you know what, you'll get tired of it as I did. And what I found interesting on this page was this point here. Both candidates say that there will be no personal attacks against each other. Now that's a very sweet sentiment, but it of course doesn't preclude the fact that cyber troopers have been all over the internet passing incredibly sexist and racist comments about at least one of the candidates, including a certain Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who has called the fact that she's running for DAP a failure for parenting, saying that coming from UMNO heritage and moving on to opposition is just simply unacceptable. What you want to make of that, I don't know, but I think, personal attacks are on their way. Malay Mail have also gone with this photo. And continuing the Teluk Intan coverage is Sinar Harian. Now, I wanted to draw attention to this cover, not so much for this headline, which basically says, Pas Sokong Dyana, as if they have a choice, but for the juxtaposition of these two headlines. Now, this is an awful story about a baby who fell into a pot of chicken soup, or rather a boiling pot of chicken soup. And I think it's interesting to put it on top of somebody who's basically heading into political hot soup for her foreseeable future. Moving on now to some papers that covered some other stories. We have Berita Harian here. They've gone with a story of corruption and bribery and diesel smuggling, essentially saying that at least one person involved with this has 1.5 million. Now, the MACC have gone on to say that this is only one person, who knows how many others there may be. And there's also further coverage on Utusan Malaysia of the same issue, saying the MACC have acted to kind of shut down this ring, or at least to find one person in it, and saying that one person even went so far as to buy his own lorry to smuggle the diesel, resulting in a whole bunch of pretty obvious issues like diesel finishing before it should and stuff being stolen from people. And the New Straits Times have gone with a slightly happier headline. The Pandas are landing. Fuwa, Fingyi, we are waiting for you. All of Malaysia is, or, so the newspapers would want you to believe. And I just want a special shout out here because I feel sports underrepresented on morning headlines. Louis van Gaal, very excited. And the People's Paper have gone with something slightly unrelated. Well, I say slightly, what I mean is really, because while everybody else has been going with elections, bribery, with corruption, they have gone with varsities feel the pinch, about how private medical schools are pinching senior lecturers from public schools, promising them more pay, less workload, the usual spiel, something that we're going to return to a bit later. Inside, they also go on about how the Pandas are set to fly with mass cargo. So, Fuwa, Fingyi, MAS is taking care of you, whereas they can't really seem to take care of themselves. The Edge Financial Daily have gone with, again, an interesting juxtaposition about how mass shares have sunk to a new low, no surprise to anybody. But over here, a little sidebar about how AirAsia X's first quarter net loss was better than expected. I like the language on this front page just because sink to new low, nice, positive, negative thing going, as well as better than expected. Again, damning with faint praise, the Edge. And if all the talk of Pandas and MAS is distracting you from the fact that MAS is in a bit of trouble and our relations with China are maybe not the best, Harian Metro's got another story for you about people who also got duped by easy promises and fun numbers. 8 fresh grads essentially were duped into losing almost 1 million ringgit when they entered a Forex company as admin execs and were promised 5-figure paychecks, as well as just all sorts of great perks. Now remember, kids, if it sounds great, if it looks great, but most of the time, executive air mata. And that wraps it up for this Tuesday. My word of the day was going to be hot soup, but that seemed a little bit tasteless. My word of the day is going to be pandas, because, you've been watching Morning Headlines. I'm Lynn, BFM 89.9.